25 full days of cricket decided by just 6 runs. England nearly pulled off one of the craziest comebacks in recent memory with a record chase, but instead I'm somehow sat here saying India has pulled off the comeback of the century in what will go down as maybe the best test series of the century without the help of the best bowler in the world. Make test cricket make sense. I was and I'm still extremely worried about the future of test cricket, but if you ever needed a reminder that the format is well and truly alive, then this is it. 25 days of cricket with a result completely unknown until the second hour of the very last day. I mean, as a test cricket fan, you can't help but be over the moon with this series. As much as I would love to give it out to England, I can't deny they have hosted one of the best series that I can remember as a neutral. I feel like it's always hard to judge a series when you're supporting a team because obviously you're so emotionally invested in that team that it's hard to remain unbiased. For example, the BGT was more exciting and more intense for me compared to the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy. But that's because I really wanted Australia to win, and also I didn't want my Indian audience to troll me for the next 4 years until Australia have a realistic chance at winning it again. But in terms of watching a series as a neutral, it really doesn't get any better than that. So let's kind of talk about day 4 onwards, because I've covered all the other days in my shorts, and really this is where I think the game turned on its head, where it opened itself up for India. And while you're at it, if you are enjoying these longer videos, make sure to subscribe. If you want the flexibility of both audio and video, then hop over to my Spotify and leave me a review there. So Crawley and Duckett get their normal 50-run partnership and make every Australian at home shed a tear and question why we have to start every innings 3 for 50. Then England lose another 2 for 50 to get themselves around 3 for 100. Harry Brook and Joe Root are then at the crease, and I think every player, every fan, every pundit, everyone knew that this partnership would probably decide the game. In the end, it didn't decide the game, but 99% of people thought it won them the game, and really they were just both brilliant. Joe Root, similar to what I said last video, just a complete player, and he is so essential to that England side because he is just a perfect anchor up one end. While the other batsmen are more aggressive, like to get on the front foot and hit over the top, Joe Root is always just going to be Joe Root up one end, striking at about 70, able to turn over the strike, able to face spinners, able to face fast bowling, able to face a new ball. He just does what he always does. He will be up one end scoring runs. I mean, his average, his amount of centuries since COVID is just through the roof, and he bats like he always does and notches up his 7 millionth century since COVID. I'm surprised at this point the government haven't gotten it on board, because if you ever needed an ad for a booster shot, Joe Root is your person. Then up the other end, his little prodigy Brook was on fire, and he really always is, and he's the perfect complement to Root. Obviously, he plays a little bit more risky, a little bit more aggressive compared to Root, but it's just that perfect counter attack coming in at 5. Similar to that destructive role that Head plays for Australia, having a number 5 or a number 6 that can come in and put the bowlers on the back foot, put pressure back on the bowlers after they have just taken a wicket, or in this case it was 2 wickets, is priceless. I mean, he did get a little lucky getting dropped, I think, by SIRAJ for less than 50, but at the same time, England dropped about 15 catches this game, and normally they are excellent in the field. So if they had held on to their catches, we probably wouldn't even be talking about this right now. Anyway, Brook is now 30 games into his career. He averages 57 with the ball. He has 10 centuries. He has 13 50s, and he's 26 years old. You really can't ask for much more than a player, and unless something dramatic happens, unless his form falls off a cliff, he is going to be England's next captain. Once Stokes eventually wraps up, he, in my eyes, all 3 formats, he will be England's permanent captain. I think the only critique you could have for Brook in his game is maybe his match awareness and his mentality, and if that is the only critique you have for a batsman, that means they're a bloody good player and they're not doing a whole lot wrong. But here I am going to talk about it anyway. As someone with no coaching at the highest level, definitely not played at the highest level, I'm now going to question a kid younger than me with 10 test centuries for his country. But was that shot from Brook needed? It's been discussed a lot lately. In my shorter video, I was pretty clear in saying I don't think it was needed given the game situation. But I feel like on reflection, looking back, although I still have a similar thought, I also can see the multiple reasons why you would play it. I understand where Brook is coming from. Even though it ended up being a pretty pivotal moment in the game, I don't think much or really any blame can lie with Brook. So in terms of the reasons why he's played that shot, I mean, given the fact that he was smacking most bowlers over cover for runs throughout his innings, it made sense to play that shot again. I think that he thought, even if I don't connect with it, it should drop safely over cover, or at worst in front of, I think it was deep point and they had a third man. So at least at point or in front of point if he hits it bad. It would have to be a really thick edge to get it down to deep point, because I think he might have been just behind square. So I think he thought he was safe even if he didn't connect with it really well. And then also that shot not only gets you 4 runs, but I think it's the implication of that shot. It shows how dominant the batsman is. It shows that Harry Brook is seeing them well. He's controlling the bowlers. It puts the bowlers on the back foot. So I think shots like that are really demoralizing for the bowler. And look, ultimately, I don't think he would have expected his team to lose 7 for 66. And he thought it's probably worth taking this risk with that many batsmen to come. And that's probably where I was being a little too critical. Because in my eyes, although he has been playing those shots successfully throughout his innings, I just didn't think it was needed given the game situation. Yes, you were putting the bowlers on the back foot and releasing some of that pressure. But the thing is, they had the field spread. They were letting singles go. Gill had everyone on the boundary, and they were really scoring 3 or 4 and over without taking any risks, without having to score a boundary. They were scoring so quickly already. When you're scoring that fast, all that shot is going to do is either get you to chasing the score, I guess, a couple of balls faster, or it's going to open up the game for India when they are completely gone, dead out of the water. The crowd isn't there. The bowlers are tired. They don't even have a sniff. Now, once India got the wicket, they were like rabid dogs. The crowd turned 99% Indian. They were sledging. They were chomping at the heels. All the bowlers got this second win, and all of a sudden, England are under the pump. And to be fair, the batsman you probably don't want to come in that situation is Bethel. And Bethel is batting in the hardest conditions of his life against the best bowlers he's ever faced, and ultimately gets out. And then the Joe Root wicket at the end is just a build-up of pressure. And suddenly, they go into the last day only needing 30 runs, but it feels like 80. Before we talk about SIRAJ channeling his inner Ronaldo and turning into the best player in the world, I want to touch on England's selections, because they are straight up not making sense to me. And this is coming from a person that has just witnessed David Warner have a 2-year-long retirement tour. Then Steve Smith moved to opener. And now, 2 years later, we still haven't found a new one. But the 2 selections that absolutely baffle me is Jamie Overton and Jacob Bethel. Now, I just want to get this out of the way and say this is nothing against the players. I'm not having a dig at the players. I don't think it is their fault in any way, shape or form. At the end of the day, they're not going to turn down a chance to play for their country. They don't pick themselves. But why did they get picked? Bethel was young and he looks really dangerous in white ball cricket. He had a really good season in the 100, which kind of validates why he was picked for England in white ball. But when it comes to first class, he only averages 25. He's yet to score a professional century. He has 1 first game in the last 3 months. I also had comments saying it's actually 1 game in the last 7 months, but I can't confirm that on the spot. But even then, his last first class game was mid-June, and since then, he has only played 3 games of T20. Based on all of that information, do you think the best time to pick him is on a series decider on the spiciest deck that you've had all series? It just felt like it was destined to fail. I was hoping he was going to prove me wrong, but yeah, he just looked really underdone out there. And the worst part is they keep dropping him after he has these bad performances. I feel like either they need to commit to one thing or the other. Either pick him and play him for a series. Hope that even though he is fresh, even though he is young, he can adapt to the test conditions quickly and make a mark in that team, get himself in that team. Otherwise, I think they're just better off not having him in the team and just let him play first class, let him get some games under his belt, and then pick him once he's good to go again. I just feel that getting him in for 1 game, then getting rid of him, getting him in for 1 game, getting rid of him, it's not good for England or for Bethel. And then the other choice is really a similar situation, Jamie Overton, who in the end, I actually thought did a decent job given the really hard conditions. I mean, it's always hard, and I don't want to judge a performance when you're a fast bowler down. But once again, I just don't understand on what basis has he made the team. The rumor's going, and I know they want to try out some fast bowlers for Australia. And I feel like that, along with the notion that he can bat a bit, is really why he was selected. Because when you look at the hard facts, again, he has only picked up 2 wickets in first class since May. I think all year he's bowled about 40 overs. I just feel like, again, he was underdone and it looked like he was struggling out there. Again, it's hard to judge when you're a fast bowler down, but they just didn't make sense to me. But let's move on to the final day anyway, because what an hour of cricket that was. I mean, if I'm being 100% honest, I thought India were absolutely no chance of winning. I thought maybe if they had 50 to 60 runs to play with, it would get interesting, it would get close, but all it would take is a 15, 20 run partnership and the game is over. The only way I thought it was going to be possible is if they got a wicket in the first couple of overs without giving away many runs, and ideally that wicket needed to be Jamie Smith. Of course, those prayers are answered with bloody MOHHAMED SIRAJ. I mean, after those 2 fours in the first over, I thought it wasn't going to be India's day, but SIRAJ swinging it a mile from the first ball, and he gets the most important wicket in the first couple of overs, and once again the crowd is up, the field is up, and all of a sudden it's possible. Once Overton went, I then realized it is well and truly on. I actually forgot Woakes didn't have an arm until the 8th wicket fell, and I remembered quickly, and yeah, I was like, this is actually happening. India in the driver's seat again. Atkinson in the end did really well to put those runs on and make it a tight game, but at the end of the day, with Woakes not being, I don't know. What I wanted to see is what was going to happen if Woakes was on strike. Was he going to attempt to hide his arm in the cast and one arm bat? Or were they just going to forfeit it? That's what I wanted to see, just for the novelty of it. At the end of the day, they were doing everything to keep Woakes off strike. SIRAJ was just bowling these lethal Yorkers that were absolutely hooping. I mean, it was beautiful, and they win by 6 runs. It does leave me with questions as to why SIRAJ can't bowl like that more consistently. I mean, if I think back, he has some of the best spells of bowling in history. He's ripped through Australia before, he's ripped through England before, but even think just a cup like the Asian Cup final where he just wins the game by himself. He has these moments where he's absolutely unplayable. But then he also has these days where his economy is shocking and he's bowling all over the place. I don't actually know that. I'm just going to throw the question out there. I don't actually know the answer, but it felt right that SIRAJ was the one to win it for India because he plays for his country. He loves playing for his country, and it would have been pretty brutal because I think SIRAJ was the one to drop Brooks. So I feel like he would have felt responsible even though he played so well. It's one of those mysteries, but I'm glad SIRAJ won it for them in the end. And now we have a little bit of a break between Test cricket, but I'll be back next week to talk about the openers. So subscribe and we'll talk soon.